How can you not like Ghostbusters? I even stated in last year's Zombieland review that one of the highlights of that movie was being shown Ghostbusters clips midway through. But this is the real deal. How could I review movies for Halloween and not do Ghostbusters? I would have probably covered it a lot earlier if it wasn't for my infatuation with really awful slasher movies. Has anyone not seen this movie yet? If not, it was the pinnacle comedy of the 80s. It had a lot of elements that made it work. It had bits of romance, horror, action, but every line of dialogue will have you on the floor laughing.
Hey! Get a little tired of this!
You volunteered, didn't you? We're paying you, aren't we?
Have you or any member of your family ever been diagnosed schizophrenic, mentally incompetent?
My uncle thought he was St. Jerome.
I'd call that a big yes.
This university will no longer continue any funding of any kind for your group's activities.
But the kids love us.
Since I joined these men, I have seen shit that'll turn you white.
It's got a great cast, too. The movie is the brainchild of Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd, who play Dr. Egon Spengler and Dr. Ray Stantz, respectively. Egon is the science nut who delivers every line with a hint of techno-babble.
Do you have any hobbies?
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
The humor comes from how calm he is during the ghost scenes. He's more obsessed with collecting his samples than getting his hands dirty.
Egon, your mucus.
Ray is probably the most passionate of the group and definitely the most timid.
Ready? Get her!
Look! No! It can't be.
What is it?
It can't be.
What did you do, Ray? Oh, shit!
At the end of the movie, it's Ray who accidentally summons the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man to destroy New York. Then there's Ernie Hudson, who plays newcomer Winston Zeddemore.
Do you believe in UFOs, astral projections, mental telepathy, ESP, clairvoyance, spirit photography, telekinetic movement, full trance mediums, the Loch Ness Monster, and the theory of Atlantis?
If there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say.
He's got some great lines, but he comes in a little late in the movie, and as an overall character, he's pretty forgettable. It seems like whenever they promote Ghostbusters, whether it be the actual movie or an adaptation, they seem to overlook that there are 4 Ghostbusters, and usually it's Winston who suffers. The only reason I can think of for this is that supposedly Eddie Murphy was supposed to play this character, but had to step down to fulfill other obligations. I guess rather than omit the character altogether, they decided to just place him later in the movie and give him a smaller role. I don't know if it's Ernie Hudson himself who requests to be left out of it, or if the fans just sort of dismiss him, but if you look it up, you'll realize that Winston usually gets the short end of the stick. I kind of see him as the only throwaway character in the series. The movies would have probably turned out just as good without him. Then of course we have Mr. Bill Murray, a smartass wise guy Peter Venkman. Murray is hands down the main reason to watch this movie. Aside from having the funniest lines, he has the most charisma out of everyone in the cast. Who else can play a dickhead with such sincerity?
And may I see this storage facility?
No.
And why not, Mr. Venkman?
Because you did not use the magic word.
What is the magic word, Mr. Venkman?
Please.
Every scene he's in, he steals the show. Something as simple as seeing him spin around in the middle of Lincoln Center is a monumental moment for Bill Murray fans. And of course, you have other memorable characters. There's Sigourney Weaver, of course, as Venkman's love interest, Dana Barrett.
Well, of course I'm telling the truth. Who would make up a story like that?
Some are people who just want attention. Others are just nutballs who come in off the street.
William Atherton as Walter Peck.
Step aside.
If he does that again, you can shoot him.
You do your job, pencil neck. Don't tell me how to do mine.
Thank you, officer.
Shut it off!
Annie Potts as Janine Melnitz.
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
And Rick Moranis as the goofy but lovable Louis Tully.
Oh, yeah, you know what I did? I climbed on the ledge and tried to disconnect the camera, but I couldn't get in, so you know what I did? I turned up my TV real loud, too, so everyone would think that both our TVs had something wrong with it. Okay, so I'll see you later, huh? I'll give you a call. I'm gonna have a shower.
All of these characters combined come together to make a really awesome, hilarious movie.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Enough! I get the point!
The story is actually real simple. Egon, Ray, and Venkman are paranormal investigators who think they've come up with a way to capture and dispose of ghosts. When their college dean kicks them to the curb, they decide to go into business for themselves.
Where are we gonna get the money?
I don't know.
They run a spooky old firehouse, which to this day is an actual firehouse in New York.
This building should be condemned. There's serious metal fatigue in all the load-bearing members. The wiring is substandard. It's completely inadequate for our power needs, and the neighborhood is like a demilitarized zone.
They buy a Hearst and they film cheap TV ads to try and bring in business. They fully customize the Hearst and transform it into the Echo 1, a fully operational ghost-busting vehicle that has all kinds of gadgets we never seem to see on film, but the noise it makes is so memorable. We meet Dana, who lives in this old apartment building. She seems to lead a pretty comfortable life until one day when she comes home, opens her fridge, and sees an old building surrounded by ancient Sumerian demons. Freaked out by this, she goes to visit the Ghostbusters, where Peter Venkman right away starts hitting on her.
I'll take Miss Barrett back to her apartment and check her out. I'll go check out Miss Barrett's apartment.
He goes to her apartment, and it's here that they exchange some really funny dialogue.
That's the bedroom, but nothing ever happened in there.
What a crime.
As the Ghostbusters are about to file bankruptcy, they finally get their first real customer and hurry over to a fancy hotel where they encounter a Slimer. Again, nothing but hilarity here.
Okay, all right. Oh, nice shooting, Tex.
I've always wanted to do this. And?
The flowers are still standing. Okay, we came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
After this, the Ghostbusters become big celebrities. Venkman goes to update Dana on her case, where he reveals that her apartment once served as a place of worship for Gozer worshippers, and that Gozer is an actual Sumerian god who is served by his two minions, Vince Clortho and Zool.
Well, what's he doing in my icebox?
Right around the time they hire in Winston Zedmore, Venkman gets a visit from this asshole official, Walter Peck, who threatens to shut the Ghostbusters down due to the possibility of an environmental hazard. He comes back with a court order, shuts down their power grid, and by doing so releases all the ghosts that they had trapped previously.
Everything was fine with our system until the power grid was shut off by Dickless here.
Is this true?
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
In the meantime, Dana and Lewis get possessed by Zool and Vince Clortho, becoming the gatekeeper and the keymaster. Yes, that is a sexual reference. With the Ghostbusters locked away, the mayor of New York panics until Venkman clearly convinces him that they are the right ones for the job.
But if I'm right, and we can stop this thing, Lenny, you will have saved the lives of millions of registered voters.
So the mayor releases them, they suit up for their final battle, and they head up to the roof of Dana's building by climbing up the stairs. On the rooftop, they have a brief encounter with Gozer, and then she disappears, telling them to choose the form of their destructor.
Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes!
Now, I was fortunate enough to see this movie in theaters last year, and as you'd expect, it was a real treat. But the highlight of the whole experience was seeing the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man on the big screen. That was a whole nother kind of awesome. So of course, the Ghostbusters destroy Stay Puft, and all is well with the city. Until the sequel. I don't have one bad thing to say about this movie. It's a classic. It's one of those movies you just have to see on the big screen. This is a perfect movie for the month of October. Most of you have undoubtedly seen it already, but go watch it again. Look, I've been hosting these reviews for 3 years now, and I don't think I've ever reviewed a film as iconic or hell as good as this. Take it from me, I can't even do it justice. Just go watch it.
She's not my girlfriend. I find her interesting because she's a client and because she sleeps above her covers. 4 feet above her covers.